So we're just looking here at the notable Chelsea arrivals and departures, and some very late news coming in here that the Samu Omorodion deal is on the verge of collapsing.
Well, I tell you.
Gab, do you know any more about this?
Well, several people out there are including Fabrizio Romano, reporting that the failure to agree personal terms with Chelsea, which you could possibly see happening. Obviously, as part of Chelsea's transfer strategy, they do pay big fees for younger players, but they like to keep the wages relatively low and incentive laden. If the deal collapses, there's different possibilities. Inevitably, Osimhen's, we mentioned earlier, will be mentioned. But also now, Fabrizio Romano reporting that Uncle George Mendes is in London, and he's offering up João Felix, of course, a player who was already at Chelsea. He's a guy Atletico Madrid need to get off their books, also because it would help them complete the Julian Alvarez deal. So stay tuned on this one. I mean, my personal view is Chelsea need João Felix about as much as they need a hole in the head, but what do I know? Uncle George often gets what Uncle George wants.
Is there any chance, Gab, then, you think you just mentioned the Julian Alvarez factor here, and obviously we know the Conor Gallagher as well. Is there a domino effect that could come into play here?
I think to some degree, yeah, because Atletico Madrid, like everybody else, live in the real world of needing to balance books. And if you can, Omorodion, again, from a purely accounting perspective, Omorodion is what you would call pure profit. João Felix would not be, because obviously they did sign him from Benfica for a lot of money, but he's extended his contract so many times and he's now been there so long that, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what his residual amortization is, but I'm assuming it's relatively low. And on top of that, you get the bonus of getting his wages off, whereas Omorodion does not make a lot of money. So accounting-wise, it could fit, and if they get the money in, then I guess it gets easier to complete the Julian Alvarez deal. So from what people are reporting here, both teams are, Chelsea are certainly determined to send to send Conor Gallagher to Atletico Madrid, and Atleti want Conor Gallagher, and both City and Atletico Madrid want to do the Julian Alvarez deal, and so the sticking point here was Samu Omorodion. If that deal is dead, and by the way, I think we know from experience that when they argue on personal terms, sometimes it takes a couple of days, and then they meet in the middle, these things get hammered out. George Mendes is suggesting João Felix as an alternative. Now, look, I don't want to be cynical about this, about being an accounting deal or whatever, but if you haven't seen Samu Omorodion play, you can go on YouTube, you can see him, you can see João Felix, and you will see those are two completely different players. So this would feel like an accounting move on Chelsea's part. I am skeptical on Chelsea's part too about whether this deal to some degree isn't being forced upon them, because they already have a whole gaggle of wingers on the team, and they signed Pedro Neto, of course. And if you think of João Felix as a number 10, well, they have Christopher Nkunku and they have Cole Palmer who can play there. So this, to me, seems like a purely accounting move. The Alvarez deal is so important. The Gallagher deal is so important. Let's find a way to get it done by chucking somebody else into the mix.
So, Frank, did you follow all that?
Oh, well, you know what? I'm lost. I'm lost with everything Gab explained, because, yeah, it's crazy. But I would say, like, for João Felix, like they do in the studio with Lukaku, João Felix? Come on, really? Really? Come on. João Felix? No, thank you. Thank you very much. No, okay. No, Felix
doesn't quite have the same ring.
Doesn't quite have the same. Well, let him have it, all right? Let him have it.
Yeah. Well, that's all right.
Let him have it tonight. He's been all upset about the Ballon d'Or. Let him have that one. Drama, though, Stevie, isn't it? More drama before the season starts and more talk about Chelsea. The less said, the better, I think it is, from Stevie Nicol right there.
Thank you, Stevie.
There's definitely a lot more news.
I didn't know you were talking to me.
You did say Stevie 3
I did
times.
say Stevie and look you right in the eye, but whatever. Live transfer talk, Manchester United eyeing up that move for Ferguson, and loads more stories like this. And keep up to date with everything that's going on with Chelsea over on the website, ESPN.com.